Welcome to the Key to All of This, hosted by Tim and Dylan.
Yeah.
That's great. Get all your grunts out now. So we're going to be in for a roller coaster.
That was Tim Allen.
I'm your host. That was Tim Allen grunting because he's not in any more Toy Story films anymore.
Mhm.
I'd be grunting too. I'm Tim, and with me as always is Dylan.
Hey.
Hey. This show is entirely scripted. Every moment.
What was my
every
line?
Word. Every grunt. It was hey.
Oh, okay, good.
Killing it. Speaking of killing it, we got a great episode today about a character who kills it throughout.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts out figuratively and then goes to quite literally.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a theory that Jar Jar Binks. I know. It's
Get into
very,
this. You got this.
Really, moisten your throats with some lozenges.
Moisten your throats, because here we come.
Okay. Well, we just that's our show. That the idea that Jar Jar Binks is actually a Sith Lord.
The Jar Jar is the Phantom Menace. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I love it.
I think it checks out. Throughout all 3 episodes, 1, 2, and 3, he helps Sidious gain power, keep power, and expand his power.
Mm-hmm. I feel like even if we didn't, even knowing what we're talking about right now, I think you could go back to 1, 2, and 3 and even say Jar Jar was the Phantom Menace, because he did put Palpatine into power. Obviously, he didn't do it maliciously, but you could easily watch it and be like, oh, he did. And then I don't know if you've seen, but there's people online who are like, there's like moments where Jar Jar like looks a certain way or like moves his hand, and they're like,
yes, I've seen that.
That's Jar Jar using the Force. You've seen his hand movements.
His expressive.
Misa huge.
Whoa! Misa huge. Misa huge with the Gungans. They love the Gungans. They love me. I also think that in the Battle of Naboo, it seems like he kind of, gets lucky or uses the Force.
Yeah.
I could see both happening.
Yeah, I had in the last episode I mentioned my other podcast, Have a Drink with Me, but I had comedian Bill Cockcamp on, and we did a full episode about Jar Jar. I came into the episode kind of hating on Jar Jar, being like, "What a dumb character," and that's not very positive of me. Okay, and Bill had all of these theories, all of this stuff where Jar Jar is the key to all of this, which is the name of this podcast, and that's where it came from. I don't know if we even ever told people that. Maybe we did. George Lucas said Jar Jar is the key to all of this, which is why our podcast is called The Key to All of This. So Bill completely changed my perspective on Jar Jar as, sure, he's based off of Goofy, and he's kind of a dumb, annoying character, but he moves everything to where it is, and he would say, there's no way, this is the one thing that stuck with me that I think is great. There's no way that the Gungans would just shun someone for being goofy and a little aloof. And it makes more sense that he was banned from his homeworld because he's not a good person, rather than, he trips and he's
clumsy.
Yeah, clumsy, yeah. So,
how clumsy do you have to be to get excommunicated from your home?
Mm-hmm. Like, we don't want you here because you tripped.
You trip too much.
You trip too much.
You do too many pratfalls.
Yeah. You trip too much.
Yeah. I think he's got a little George Santos thing going on where he pretends that he's
not a drag
I'm just
queen.
Clumsy.
Yeah.
Not a Gungan.
Mm-hmm.
Gungan queen.
Yeah. A drag Gungan.
Gungan. Imagine drag Gungans. Sorry.
This episode's radioactive.
Radioactive. That's so the idea of drag Gungans, and I'm asking you to imagine that.
I feel like at this point, we around the 5 minute mark of every episode, we kind of lose focus. And I think
Yeah,
that's
in a good
probably
way.
when we should just end the episode. And
I
then,
think so too.
so we have 5 minute
For the
episodes,
afterward.
nothing but 5 minute episodes. So then in the next episode, we continue Jar Jar Part 2, and then Jar Jar Part 3.
Until we start crying with laughter. Yeah, and I just think that what a terrible segue to like the next. Be like, yeah. Anyway, I just think that that he is not as clumsy as he lets on,
Mhm.
and for someone who he gets lucky a lot, and who
Yep.
gets lucky a lot are Force users.
And Pharrell.
Pharrell, God, lucky man. You want to talk about hats? That hat.
To know what we're talking about with the hats, listen to the last episode about Return of the Jedi. Yeah, I mean, he does through the whole battle where he's fumbling with the Boomba. He used to know have a Boomba. Yeah, I mean, all of it.
You'll get one eventually.
He trips over one of the droids and it gets caught on his foot. And when he tries to kick it off, it shoots and kills other droids. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious. George Lucas has said Jar Jar is not the Phantom Menace, but I think he also is saying that, like he said, Han didn't shoot first. It was an idea that he had, and then it was poor crowd reaction, so he changed it. And you see that in 7, 8, and 9. I mean, those movies have almost nothing to do with each other because fans, for the most part, maybe not the most part, fans can be terrible. So
yeah,
and he got
things a certain way.
Yeah, and he got a ton of backlash for Jar Jar and Episode 1. But to celebrate May the 4th, I watched Episode 1. Watched it again. It was great.
I think a lot of people are coming to the realization that they're good movies.
Yeah, I mean, look at Hayden Christensen, all the reaction he's been getting since the Obi Wan series came out, and everyone wanting him back. People hated him for Episode 2 and Episode 3. And now everyone's like, we need Hayden Christensen back more and more and more. And the reaction that Ahmed Best got in Mandalorian Season 3. I mean, maybe there is a light side of the fandom. And we are the reason that there is, because we're the only positive Star Wars podcast
out there. Yeah,
there are some other ones that I've researched. I don't remember the names of them, but it is good that
there is another.
There is sister. That was supposed to be Darth Vader.
Rest I need.
That was supposed to be. Oh, yeah, he just night. I don't know what voices I'm doing, but
kind of go to sleep.
But yeah, I mean, it's good that people are starting to enjoy these movies. Attack of the Clones ended up being, I mean, it's one of my favorites.
I love the Battle of Geonosis. It's like truly like
it's so good.
It's so unique. Like Star Wars. What I love about it, it's like there's a new planet in every single one.
Yeah.
And that for sure is one of my favorite new ones. And I took a class on like B
Star
movies.
Wars planets, yeah.
But they talked about how in original Star Wars the monsters are big, and in the kind of Episode 2 it matches a lot with like different horror movies of the day, especially in like early 2000s, where it's like a lot of bugs. Bugs are things that are small, things that can infiltrate and get under the radar, and like that kind of fear being kind of a social fear at the time. I just think it stands a test of time as like an analysis of like what is society afraid of, with internet, viruses, bugs,
Relationships, STDs,
relationships,
bugs in our wieners.
bugs, little bugs.
No
So yeah,
bugs in
I
my
think
wiener.
no, no one. I can guarantee you, no one is going to get that reference.
That's okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right, let me cut in real quick. Tim and I filmed something 5 years ago, and it was a Western, which I've actually turned into a pilot script. Not an actual pilot that you can watch, but essentially Tim's
He was the best
character.
pilot in the galaxy.
It was. Essentially, Tim's character and I were playing some kind of form of poker. We think there's a lot of odd card playing, but at one point, Tim has a snake on his shoulder, a fake rubber one, and off script, Tim just shouted, "No, no snakes on my shoulder," and I laughed about that. And "No snakes on my shoulder" has been probably the biggest part of our friendship since.
Yeah.
You might have officiated my wedding,
holding us together.
but snakes on your shoulder was a much bigger thing for me.
Yeah, it always will be.
Mm-hmm. So
the most important day of your life.
So no bugs in my wiener.
Yeah, I just think it's a great film that it has a lot of mystery to it.
Mm-hmm.
I love Obi Wan's quest, and and I think that you see the rise of Jar Jar in a way that also makes it clear that Jar Jar must be more in control than you think.
Yeah.
He becomes a senator.
Yeah.
He becomes a galactic senator.
Yeah.
It's not like he's a senator in a country. He's a senator of a planet,
Yeah. Yeah. Think of everyone listening or watching. Think of your clumsiest friend, the one who always trips over his own shoes, the one who misses the steps while walking up the stairs. Are you going to put him in the Senate? Are you going to vote him in? No. He's fun to have around and fun to like poke fun at. But you
go
aren't
see their drag shows.
You aren't going, well, obviously. You're not going to vote him into running your life. I mean, you don't do that. But if your goofy friend who tripped upstairs and always fell, if he had some like power to do it, that's the only way it would happen. So yeah, Jar Jar was the Phantom Menace.
Exactly.
So episode 1 could have stayed as is. No changes at all. Episode 2 is when we would really find out that Jar Jar was pulling strings in everything. How do you think Jar Jar would speak? Do you think he would have continued the way he did, or would he like snap out of it and there'd be like a "oh damn" kind of moment?
I don't know, because I think that's just how he speaks.
Okay.
Where we think of it as kind of like low status. I just think that's his language.
Yeah. But I feel like his inflection might change.
He's gonna kill you.
Well, I have.
He's just very turns on the nine.
I do have one thing to say based on what you said. Let's say he was the Phantom Menace. Okay, we probably wouldn't have gotten Dooku or maybe we would have gotten Dooku to be someone part of the CIS. But imagine we got Jar Jar versus Obi Wan and Anakin instead. And when Jar Jar cuts off Anakin's arm, he goes, "You so armless, Annie." Instead of like something fun and goofy, it turns into like, "You so armless, Annie." He changes his whole inflection. He still speaks the way he speaks, but now he's not doing like the kind of like squeaky dog toy voice, and more of like
doubling the pride twice in the fall.
I love it.
I think replacing Count Dooku with Jar Jar is one of the funniest ideas.
And watching his ears spin around in CG.
Yeah. Yes. That would be great. I'm all in.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start this GoFundMe right now to make this happen. Seriously.
Let's do it. Let's just film it on our own. between New York and LA.
What could go wrong?
Exactly. I got a green screen. They're easy to get.
Yeah. I got ears.
If Jar Jar was the Phantom Menace, do we think let's say he is the Phantom Menace in 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Jar Jar is the Phantom Menace. Is that Jar Jar's doing, or was he manipulated by Palpatine?
Well, Palpatine was from Naboo.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it predates the events of the manipulation.
Do you think Jar Jar had parents or didn't have parents, and Palpatine made him like he made Anakin?
Created with the Force.
He saw Mickey Mouse movie once, and he was like, "I'm making Jar Jar."
Misa going to like this.
you do a great Palpatine voice, and every time I do it, I'm sure people are just like, I don't know who he's doing. But as Palpatine, will you say, I'm making Goofy in my own creation?
I'm making Goofy in my own creation.
I love it. That's exactly what he did. Okay, so with that, was Jar Jar weak-minded and Palpatine forced him to do these things, or was Jar Jar a bad boy? If Jar Jar is the Phantom Menace.
I think he's got a little cloud over him, confusion. And then he's allowed to thrive once he's in a position to be more manipulated by Palpatine.
Okay, I see that.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, what about you?
I agree. I think if Jar Jar was the Phantom Menace, I think that you'd have to think that he was shunned from his village because there's something going on more than he's so clumsy. But outside influence, definitely pushed him into that position. So I think maybe it's Maybelline, or maybe he was born with it. But also the other way.
Wow. That's great. That was very smooth.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Maybe you're born with it, because that was really great.
Speaking of Maybelline, I noticed my hair here and editing the videos. I basically have episode 2 Kenobi hair.
Yeah, you do. Oh my God, I didn't even know that makes complete sense. Yeah.
It makes complete sense. Do you think I did this on purpose?
No, I'm just like that. Why does it seem so your hair has been feeling very familiar? And I'm like, that's it. That's it. It really does look like it.
Imagine describing or seeing someone and then you just say, their hair seems familiar. I don't know what it is.
Like out of a dream.
Mm-hmm. Like out of episode 2.
I don't know. It feels like I'm being watched. Away with your weapons. Sorry.
I love it. I have 2 more things to add to this. I think that a huge scene that could have happened if crowd didn't really change the flow of things, Jar Jar would have been the person who put the hit out on Padme at the beginning of Attack of the Clones.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And that's a poodoo.
Ordered Sam Wessel.
Mm-hmm. Well, no. It would have been Sam Wessel went after Anakin. Oh, no. I mean, when her ship blows up at the beginning of episode 2.
But didn't Sam Wessel try to kill? Isn't that the first time that she tried to kill?
Well, at the beginning of episode 2, they're leaving the ship, and it blows up, and it kills Corday or something.
But I'm saying, was that Sam Wessel's first assassination attempt, or was that Jango Fett's first assassination attempt?
I don't know who that assassination attempt was from, but I'm thinking if Jar Jar was the Phantom Menace,
it would be,
he would have put the hit out. And even if it went through Zam or Jango, it would have been brought on by Jar Jar. So,
gotcha.
So watch episode 1 and then think of that hit where the ship blows up and Jar Jar's the one who did that. That changes everything.
He's the next scene, he's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're okay."
Yeah, and then he does
And
this. Oh, rats. Me so glad you're okay. Oh, rats.
all rats,
And then
nerds.
one last thing. If Jar Jar was the Phantom Menace, this is if 1, 2, and 3 didn't go the way it went, and the timeline was altered a little bit. Imagine if Jar Jar was the bad guy. Episode 2, Anakin kills him. Then episode 3 would be all about Obi Wan versus Vader. Anakin would have changed into Darth Vader in episode 2 if he found out Jar Jar was the Phantom Menace and killed Jar Jar. Mm-hmm. So I think leading into episode 3, we would have gotten nothing but Obi Wan and Vader, less about Padme and Anakin, but it would have just been essentially what we got with the Obi Wan series.
Yeah, especially like having Anakin pretend not to be Vader in real life. Yeah, having like a Jekyll and Hyde approach to it. You know, rather than it's a transformation, it's like there's one part during the day and there's a second part that's seeking to trying to take over. Got a split personality. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
do a little Green Goblin style.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that would have been great with like little Vader on his shoulder and then little Jake Lloyd on the other shoulder, like going back and forth. Jake Lloyd, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that would have been insane if Jar Jar was the Phantom Menace. But also, why would George Lucas say Jar Jar's the key to all of this, and not mean he flows the story? I mean, I guess he votes Palpatine into office, but
yes.
But yeah, I mean, if Anakin and Obi-Wan fought Jar Jar Binks, that would have completely changed everything for Anakin, moving him into the Vader role much sooner than it being, oh, Padme dies during childbirth, don't kill Palpatine. Like, he would have already been moved to the Vader position. But also episode 3 is incredible, so I don't want to change any of that.
Yeah, but it's a good way. It's a good rethinking of it.
Yeah. That's all I've got for Jar Jar as the Phantom Menace.
I think we Jar Jarred it up.
Cool. Well, let's not keep this door ajar and close it. Tim, what do we always say? Actually, wait, I didn't do any advertising at all. Follow us on social media, TKTAOT. Buy some stuff at shop.tktaot.com. Go to the new website, tktaot.com, where we have all the episodes. You can find us on social media through there. You can go to the store. You can do whatever you want. Or you can also go to the key to all of this.com if acronyms are hard. But that's it. Yeah.
That's some good advertising. That's some Don Drape Jar Jar.
I need a whiskey and a cigarette and just say, what?
That's what the money's for.
What?
May the force be with you.
And also with you.
What?
What? You so armless, Annie.